Hi guys, in today's video we're going to be painting some weird miniatures Kentauroi from the game Malifaux. But first of all I want to say a huge thank you to my YouTube channel sponsors Goblin Gaming, who sent me the box set out for review. If you check the description box down below, you'll find a direct link to their web store, and every time you purchase something from that link it greatly helps my YouTube channel, so please use the link in the description box below if you do intend to purchase anything from Goblin Gaming. In today's tutorial we're going to be learning how to paint rot and gore. I wanted to go for a very pale and pasty looking Kentauroi in this video, and this would be brilliant to transfer over to Nurgle and Death Guard and any type of miniature that requires to use rot and gore. So guys, as always this is going to be a long video, and as always I say, go grab yourselves a nice hot drink or maybe a nice ice cold beer and we'll get started. I'll start off by using Alclad 2's lacquer primer. Now I've said this many times in many videos, but just in case you're new to the channel and this is the first time you've watched any of my videos, Alclad 2's primer is lacquer based and it's a hot liquid. And what that basically means is that it can damage cheap airbrushes, so make sure you're using a quality airbrush like a Wata with PTFE solvent proof seals, and also make sure you're well ventilated as it's very harmful if inhaled. I've got a spray booth, and look guys, I have got a brand new filter, so all of those people that says change my filter, I've done it guys, so there you go. But anyway, so make sure you're well ventilated, make sure you're using a quality airbrush, and you'll be fine with the Alclad 2 primers. If you can't use an Alclad 2 primer, Ultimate Models, I believe it's called, do a one-shot primer, I think it's called. Please correct me if I'm wrong in the comments field below, but I know my friends use that and they say it's really good. So if you can't use a lacquer primer, you could probably use that, which is acrylic based I believe, or polyurethane. I also want to take this opportunity to thank my Patreon supporters. I have 17 supporters at the moment, and each and every one of them is really important. And if you love my videos guys and you want to show it more than hitting the like button or subscribing, then head on over to my Patreon channel and pledge as little as $1, and I'll obviously really appreciate it if you do. Okay guys, so priming at about 20 psi here and about 3 to 4 inches away, and obviously building up the paint nice and slowly, not concentrating in one spot at any one time, so I don't build up too much paint in one area at any one particular time. Now I'm going to base coat the whole model using Games Workshop's Rakarth Flesh. It's important to know that this is an airbrush ready guys, and I have to thin it down in the airbrush cup, and I roughly thin it down 3 drops of water to 1 drop of paint, but your mileage may vary depending on the needle nozzle set of your airbrush, whereas you might need to thin it down a little bit more or a little less. Either way guys, you're looking for a rough consistency of cream. As you can see, the Rakarth Flesh is going down nice and smoothly, working at 20 psi and about 2 to 3 inches away from the miniature. If you're new to airbrushing guys, try and keep the miniature moving as you're airbrushing, and try and keep the airbrush moving. Don't settle on one spot at any particular time, otherwise you'll build up the paint too quickly, and what will happen is you'll start to get drips and runs on the miniature if you add too much paint. I also want to take this opportunity guys to say that I'll be streaming on Twitch soon, so in the next couple of weeks I'll be streaming on Twitch and doing painting tutorials live. So if you want to head on over to my Twitch channel, which is Orc Painter Nerd, I'll try and remember to put a link in the description box below, and you can go over to my Twitch and start following me on there, which would be really nice. Now we're going to start airbrushing some Drucci Violet, which is a shade from Games Workshop. Now you're absolutely fine to airbrush all the shade washes from Games Workshop in your airbrush. And what I'm doing is I'm building up patches of Drucci Violet onto the Rakarth flesh, just to give areas of interest to the miniature, and also to help build up that look of rotting putrid flesh. Now I'm going to use Games Workshop's Athonian Camo shade, and this is going to add even more putrid rot to the flesh. I dropped the PSI down when applying the washes to about 15 PSI. It's important to let the wash build up very slowly, as it comes out the airbrush really fast, and because it's so runny and watery it can just puddle all over the miniature, and that's not the effect that we want to go for. Now I'm going back to one of the oldest tricks in the book, dry brushing. I'm going to start dry brushing Games Workshop's Rakarth flesh over all of the miniature. Now these miniatures have got some absolutely fantastic detail, and if you're very careful and you remove most of the paint from the bristles of the brush, and it's important you use a flat brush, then you'll start to pick up all those really nice details on the miniature. So just to recap guys, if you're new to miniature painting and you want to start dry brushing, make sure you're using a flat headed brush, not a round tip brush, because you won't get a good result and you'll ruin your brush as well. Also make sure you remove pretty much all of the paint from the bristles of the brush on some paper towel, and when you've done this you shouldn't see any more paint coming off onto the paper towel. And when you've got to that stage, you know that you're ready to start dry brushing the miniature. And I don't scrub at the miniature, I just lightly brush backwards and forwards, really lightly on the miniature, and that will catch all the extreme surface details. Now we're going to add some extra highlights using Games Workshop's Pallid Witch Flesh, and again we're going to be dry brushing. On one of the miniatures here I don't remove enough paint, rushing, which is not always the best thing. I'm not sure which miniature it was, but as I was dry brushing I just put too much Pallid Witch Flesh onto the miniature, and it might be this one actually, to be honest guys, and it didn't ruin the miniature as such, but it definitely added more highlights than I wanted. Now I'm going to start airbrushing Games Workshop's base paint Corn Red. I'm going to be aiming for all the areas where the flesh meets open wounds, and it's going to create a nice colour transition. What I would say guys is red looks good, but it would have looked even better if I used purple in hindsight. So if you use maybe Games Workshop's Nagaroth Night, I believe it's called, which is a purple paint, you get an even better end result when we come in with the details on all the open wounds. Now we're going to be using Games Workshop's absolutely fantastic technical paint, Blood for the Blood God. Now, Blood for the Blood God is absolutely fantastic and it leaves a glossy effect behind, but I feel that the blood colour is a little light in tone. So what I do is add a tiny drop of black to 4 or 5 drops of Blood for the Blood God, and it will just darken it up a little and it will make the blood look a little bit more believable. So here I've got Blood for the Blood God on my brush and I'm just packing it in quite densely into all of the open wounds on the Kentauroi. Vallejo Game Air Earth is placed onto the base. You can use Games Workshop's XV88, which is pretty much the same colour if you don't have Vallejo paints. Games Workshop's Death Guard Green is painted onto the shirt on the one Kentauroi, the others don't have shirts on. Games Workshop's Mechanica Standard Grey is painted onto all the areas of hair on the Kentauroi. Mornfang Brown by Games Workshop is painted onto all of the hooves of the Kentauroi. One of my favourite paints of all time is Vallejo Game Air Chainmail Silver, and all of the metallic areas on the Kentauroi are painted using this colour. Seraphim Sepia is washed onto all of the areas of the bases and also to the weapons that they're holding in their arms. They was originally base coated using Games Workshop's XV88, and then I'm washing them with Seraphim Sepia. Here you can see the Kentauroi finish, guys. These were great fun to paint, and they're super detailed miniatures from Weird Games. And if you want to try something different from Games Workshop, I highly recommend checking out Malifaux from Weird Games. I absolutely love the game, and so do my friends. So if you do want to check something out differently, go and check out Weird Games Malifaux. You won't be disappointed. Also, guys, I want to again say a huge thank you to my YouTube channel sponsors, Goblin Gaming. Please don't forget to check the description box down below for the link for that. Also, check my link out for Twitch, my Facebook page and my Patreon. As I say, every time I get a new Patreon supporter, I'll give you a shout out in a future tutorial video. And thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope I catch you in the next one.